we're going to play a game called the Google search. And all I did was, you're not going to do well. This is not to make you look, but it's just funny. Welcome to yet another edition of the Promo UPFront Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Bill Petrie, with me, as always, for episode number 19 and all future and past episodes. Funny how that works. The master of the masters, the one and only Kirby Hasseman. Kirby, how you be today?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. I like the title today, Master of the Masters. That's obviously, as we're recording this, I think it's the first day, is that right, of the Masters today in November, which is super weird. It's been funny how everybody, like literally every sports announcer keeps talking about how quiet it is. And I'm like, you guys have played golf tournaments up till now, right? So the idea that it's suddenly new is fascinating to me, but I'm doing well, excited to attack another week. How about you, bud?
Doing great. It's been a good week, busy week, and I agree. And what you saw there with the Master of the Masters, that's what you call professional recording, Kirby. That's how you prepare for a professional podcast, much like this one. But you know who else really strikes me as professional, Kirby?
Who's that, Bill?
Thank you for asking. It'd be your good folks and friends at Promo Pulse. Now, we've talked about how it's that one-stop app for the entire promotional products industry, how convenient it is. You save, search, and share. It's a great place for ideas and inspiration and information, and I know you have it on your phone. You're going to show it to us right now, right up there, right by the whoa, he's opening it up right now. He is now officially promo pulsing during the podcast, folks. But we talked about how it's a great place for ideas, inspiration, information. It's free to use, but I don't know if you know this. They recently updated. They did an update for the app. So, if you have the app and you haven't updated it, head over to your local app store and get it updated. You can just press a button for doing that. You don't have to actually go to the app store. And download it. And if you haven't downloaded the app, go ahead and download it because the content's loading a heck of a lot faster in the app and on the web. And I don't know if you've noticed it. I have noticed a dramatic speed difference in my finger clicking. The search has been completely overhauled. Have you noticed that the search is new? It does a much better job of finding ideas based on keywords. And really, it's the only place you can search the entire promotional products, merchandise, advertising, branding industry for people for sales and marketing content. Yeah. And you know what? It's really one of my favorite apps. It is eclipsed. Well, I'm not going to say the app, but it's eclipsed.
Okay. Well, the thing that I would say, though, if you notice that the ones that we talk about and the ones that we admire the most are the ones that are kind of always ideating, always innovating, always making it better for the end user. I think so many times we think we're going to build this thing and everything will be great, but the best companies are constantly trying to make it better.
No question. They come up with original ideas. They don't take from anybody else and try to apply them. They do something super original and they execute against it with passion and drive. And I love that. And that's absolutely what they do over at Promo Pulse. So head over to your local app store or Google Play and download Promo Pulse today or update it if you already have it. Now, absolutely. Kirby, I don't know about you. It's November. I love November. It's one of my favorite months of the year, mainly because it's my birthday.
Nice.
So the entire month is my birthday, not just one day. So are you ready to promo up front with me?
I will do my best, my friend.
All right. So you've got the first topic today. It's your dime. It's your dance floor. Why don't you go and tell us what the promo topic of the week is?
Yeah, so this will be a little bit of I'll get there, and it ties into our industry. So I was talking to a good friend of mine a couple weeks ago, and there was conversations around the industry. And I'm being a little bit careful because I want to make sure I don't throw anybody under the bus here, but I think it's an important topic for us, not only in the industry, but just in business. And they were in a leadership meeting, and one of the people who is a leader in our industry started making sort of bold predictions about the future of our industry. Mm-hmm. There's already been predictions made about what the sales are going to be for the industry this year. Many people, I think ASI made the prediction that it was going to drop from 25 billion to 16 billion. And then there was further predictions in this meeting. And again, this was a group of leaders in our industry where a further prediction was made that it might drop even further. And I was incredibly frustrated by that.
Okay.
And I kind of wanted to give you my take on that and see what you thought.
So what bothered you, make sure I understand,
Mm-hmm.
that there was a little bit of doom and gloom in the prognostications.
Mm-hmm.
And then after there was doom and gloom, someone else decided to say, hey, it might be even worse.
Right.
Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. And I think my frustration with the concept is, you and I have talked about this. I think everybody in the world, every organization is a media company today.
Yes.
But I think in leadership, we need to be careful about when we are a media company and when we are a leader. And I think as a leader, it is important and it is incumbent upon us to let people know when there's going to be rocky seas.
Right.
And to be upfront about that, and to so that we aren't taken by storm. But on the other side, I think making bold negative predictions are incredibly counterproductive.
Okay.
And I think that I think sometimes we think, oh, if we do this, we're going to scare people straight. And I think in reality, what we do is just scare them.
Okay.
I think it's important that if we're going to talk about what we believe the future to be, we do it in a constructive way to say, hey, here's what we're thinking might happen. And here are some ways that whether we can counteract that, whether we can make that prediction not true, or how we can, quite frankly, be opportunistic upon it. Those are ways that you can do it. But the idea of just saying, hey, I want to be the clickbait headline, I think is irresponsible.
Okay.
Your take.
So listening to you, I didn't hear these prognostications. So
right.
It's
and to be interested, neither did I. Like, this was told to me. Okay.
Okay. So it's excellent. We're both speaking of something we didn't hear. I'm just kidding.
But we are in the media.
I will say this, though. This is where I'll start off, and let's see where it goes from here. Yeah. I think we as a society and an industry, so let's leave it at the industry. We as an industry spend way too much time living in the what if, what might happen, this might happen, than living in the now and dealing with the things that are in our control. Right. We seem to really pay much more attention to things outside of our influence than are directly inside our influence. And this, to me, when people are spending time prognosticating, well, I think it's going to fall off the cliff, or I think it's going to be all rainbows and lollipops and unicorns, there's some value to that, right? Of course, strategic foresight. And yes, I'd like to know, we all like a crystal ball to see in the future. And we'd all like to know when the vaccine, if there's going to be one, we got some good news on that this week, when that's going to be widely available. Does that mean how long are you immune? All those things. We'd love to know when that's going to happen. I can't control that. You can't control that. And I'm assuming the prognosticators we're referring to can't control that. So to say that we're not going to get back to normal till 2021 or whatever normal is, and we're not going to be able to, and sales aren't going to recover until 2022 or whatever they said, why waste time on that?
Yeah.
It's so much better to use your brain. I mean, pay attention to that a little bit, but use your brain and say, okay, yeah, it probably is not going to be the way I wanted it to be or the way I expected it to be. So how do I use my sphere of influence, the things I directly can control, to insulate my life, make my life better, create better opportunities for my company, all those things. And that's where I get frustrated with the time people spend on this stuff.
Yeah. Well, and again, I always get a kick out of it. And I think you and I've talked about this a little bit, where back to the whole college football thing, when back in June, when people were saying what was going to be happening in November. And I was like, where were you assholes in January? Right. If you had this crystal ball and you can make all these bold predictions, where were you when we needed you? Yeah. Now you're just Monday morning quarterbacking it, and it's annoying.
Well, part of the problem is exactly what you said. We are all media companies. Mm-hmm. All of us are. And there's a lot of people that need to have an outlet to say things just to get some audience. I'm not talking about like podcasts and things like that. I'm talking more like true media outlets. I was listening to a show the other day, and they have Troy Aikman on every week. And he was talking, I don't remember exactly how it came up, but he was saying there was an actual policy at Fox for years in the sports division of yes and no, that if one person said yes, the other person on the show had to say no, regardless of the topic, whether they agreed or not. And so it's that type of stuff to try to get attention. It's like, man, because what's the old adage? If it bleeds, it leads.
Oh, yeah.
And so people love that negative information. Don't know why. I don't watch a lot of news for that reason.
Yeah.
But
You're not watching news though. That's the piece, right? It's evolved. That the news. I was just having this conversation where people were like, "Oh, I wish there was just people who would just give us the information, like Walter Cronkite." And here's what I would say: No, you don't, because we don't watch that. As we speak with our attention.
We have voted for that long time ago. So if you want that, go to the Associated Press website.
Yeah,
that's where, I mean, or something like that. Go to as much of a neutral website as you can. Good topic. I like that. It's a hard. I hear what you're saying. I'm not saying I agree with you. I don't know if I disagree with you. It's just I think we spend so much damn time on it. It's like not us. So I'm just saying as a society, and then to get in, when nobody has a crystal ball.
Yes.
You know.
You know what it reminds me of is that one time we did the Salt and Pepper live, because we did that live as it happened at PPI Expo, where somebody brought up a topic and you would take one side and I would take another. Man, that's exhausting.
It is. Because sometimes that's why I like the give and flow this much better, is because there are times I disagree with you. I mean, we will never agree on the whole optimist, realist, pessimist thing. And that's fine. I like that. But there's things that we do agree on, and there's things that we agree on, but there's a slight skew and difference. Again, I wrote a blog about this. I don't know when I wrote about it, a couple of weeks ago. Everything's black and white. There's gray. We all should live in the gray.
Lots of gray, yeah.
The life is in the gray. Black and white doesn't really exist. Oh, it does, but very rarely. All right, Kirby, you like tequila, don't you?
Who doesn't?
Well, apparently Elon Musk likes tequila. I don't know if you're aware of this. Elon Musk did an April Fool's tweet. You know, Elon Musk, who owns Tesla. He sent an April Fool's tweet 2 years ago about creating a Tesla tequila. Well, he did. He actually came true. And just like everything else Tesla does, it's more about branding than anything else. Okay. And it's a very cool lightning bolt-shaped bottle. And I think we'll have a graphic for this on the podcast for this week. It's complete with a stand and a Tesla logo on it. Now it sells for $250 a piece. Sold out just about immediately. Because again, Tesla is more about the brand than it is really the merchandise these days. I would think so. I think people look at Tesla as more of a brand. So I want to ask you a couple questions. Are they a car company that has great branded merchandise, or they're a branded merchandise company that happens to sell cars?
Yeah, I don't know if they're a branded merchandise company, but I think it's funny as you're saying this. So I as you might expect, I don't own a Tesla. I'm not necessarily a brand ambassador for Tesla. But one of the things I think they have done is build a brand that I resonate with. And I think back to...
It's progressive.
I'm going to go off the topic, but I'll come back. So Seth Godin actually talks about this with Nike. He said, if Nike created a hotel, you know exactly what that hotel would look like.
Yep.
Because Nike has a brand. He said, whereas the Hyatt did a shoe, I have no idea what that would look like, because the Hyatt doesn't really have a brand. Nike has a brand. No. And I would lean toward the idea that Tesla's kind of like that, because when I hear that, you know what I think of? I'm like, I think, and I don't even know if this is true, but I'm like, this is going to be innovative, and it's going to be high quality. Yeah. And it's going to be expensive. That's what I think of with Tesla. They've built a brand.
Well, to me, I'm going to take it a step further. It's not just a brand. Hyatt's a brand too.
Yeah.
Nike's a lifestyle brand.
Yeah. What's an identity?
Yeah.
Like a real brand is one where you know exactly what they are and what they stand for.
Right. But there's not very many of them. It's a very difficult thing to accomplish. Tesla has done that. Harley Davidson has done that. Coca-Cola has done that. Jack Daniels has done that. I mean, so it can be done. Yeah. It's just very difficult. And what it reminded me of was, because I do think, there is some kind of interesting parallels where, he does focus much more on the brand of Tesla than the actual product of Tesla, what they should be known for, not should be, but what they might want to be known for is cars. And I thought, back to a talk I've been giving for a couple of years about Amazon. Amazon, they're not. I got right. Are you a promotional products company that has great customer service, or are you a customer service company that happens to sell promotional products? Because that's what Amazon is, and that's how they stand out. Yeah, Zappos, same type of thing. And so I just thought it was a really interesting parallel. How they focus on the experience of the customer before anything else. And so, what the quality is going to be like before you even step in the door, look at the bottle, whatever. You haven't seen the bottle yet, and you'll look at it and go, that's freaking cool, right? You
Yep.
know you're going to
Yeah,
do
that's
that.
right. Well, and I think when you build a real brand, a Nike brand that you're wearing on your head right now, like when you build that kind of brand, I think it allows you to jump into other areas because people, whether it's a different product or not, they know
Right.
what you stand for and what you're going to be about before you walk
Right.
in the door.
No, when you build a brand, Kirby, absolutely. You absolutely know that what you're getting is exactly what you're getting. Oh, wrong side. There you go. All right, Kirby. Speaking of brands,
Okay.
we're at our promotional product of the week, and I've got a great one this week as the train starts going through your town. This is how you know we're actually recording in the morning for once.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, Kirby.
Okay.
It's getting chilly a little bit here in Middle Tennessee. Is it getting chilly up there in Eastern Ohio?
It's beginning to, yes.
Okay. So I don't know about you, but I like to snuggle up with a nice blanket while I'm watching people prognosticate about how the world's over. So when I do, I grab my Pro Towels Buffalo Check Challenger Lamb's Wool Throw. It comes in this wonderful package. Look at that lovely. Speaking of branding, there's some branding for you. And I'll tell you, take it out of here. In this thing, 100% scabies free, I might add. It is so warm. It is so, look at that lamb's wool. It is so nice. I can't keep this away from my kids. They love this thing. And so it's a classy looking thing. It's soft. I love. Did I mention how much I love this blanket, Kirby, from Pro Towels? That's item number BCH 5060 if you're keeping score at home. And again, it's just so warm and inviting as I just casually throw it over my there you go. How's that look, Kirby?
For what it's worth, it looks really good. I appreciate you killing a little time as the train went through.
I did go a little longer than I had anticipated. Yes.
I appreciate that. But if you are listening to the podcast, you should thank Bill because that train gets really loud coming through here.
It's okay. You know, as Aerosmith once sang, train kept a rolling all night long and all day apparently. But no, in all seriousness, I love a good blanket. It's one of those promotional products you never throw away.
Yes.
Much 100%. Like a towel, you know,
Yeah.
You just never throw these things away. So if you're thinking about it, and again, they've got a couple colors, and this one, I really like this. It's just a really classy looking white and gray checkerboard. So check it out.
At the end of the day, it's one of those where if you want to create a warm and fuzzy around your customers, that's a good way to do it.
I see what you did there, Kirby. Do you have another topic for us?
Yeah. So I read this. Actually, this was a topic I saw on LinkedIn, and it was around cause marketing ultimately.
Okay.
And so I thought it'd be appropriate for our conversation today.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm sure you noticed many companies sort of came out and encouraged people to get out the vote. And not just like we kind of joked about it with Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram. It's like they were coming out and telling me to vote. And I'm like, guys, I've been registered to vote longer than you have existed as a company. Can you please stop bugging me? I'm going to vote. But a lot of other companies did too. It became like the mantra of a way for companies who know that they should stand for something. That was an easy one for people to stand for, right? But I've read that companies are struggling sort of going, what's our next cause, right? The get out the vote thing seemed to work, record numbers. So that's cool. But it was funny in reading this article that companies were struggling to come up with their next cause. And I was like, I don't think that's the point. I don't think you're supposed to hop from cause to cause. And unless it really resonates with your brand and, with your brand, like what we just talked about. So I was curious to know your take on the idea of cause marketing in general, but the idea of kind of looking for the next cause.
Danger. Tricky topic. Okay. So I think what companies should stand for should be part of your values, right? It's not what you sell, it's what you stand for. And so you have a core value in whatever that is, and that might include a cause. It might include the environment like REI or Patagonia or something like that. It's not what you sell, it's what you stand for. And so that should be part of your core values. What is kind of exhausting me a little bit, I was going to say annoying, but it's not annoying me, it's just exhausting me, is we seem to be doing flavor of the month marketing. Yeah. And it's driving me bananas because it's like, okay, we just did the get out vote thing. Like you said, they're not thinking, what's the next thing? Well, there's going to be Gay Pride Month, which I think is great. I think it's fabulous. But what I don't like is every company hopping on the bandwagon just to appear like, well, we don't want that part of society to think we're not on board with their lifestyle. And some of them aren't. They're just doing it to show up. And I don't, and maybe maybe it does more good than harm
Okay.
to show support like that. It's just kind of like this weird cycle. Everybody changes their, again, this is a dangerous topic, so people are probably going to get pissed at me, and I don't mean it in any sort of negative way, but like, let's look at the NFL. They use the month of October for breast cancer awareness. So the players wear pink. In the November, it's they wear camouflage for Veterans Day and things like that. And it's like, I don't, do they really support that? Or are you just trying to look like you do?
Or sell merchandise.
Yeah, or sell merchandise. And so it's a very tricky thing. I would say that probably anything that brings attention to a cause ultimately is a good thing. So I think any company, that does get out the vote, that's supporting a good thing. Any company that supports, LBG, all BQ, I don't know all the acronyms. Yep, I apologize, but understand alternative lifestyle. I think that's wonderful as well. It's just, I want to know what you really stand for.
Yeah,
you can't, when you stand for everything, you stand for nothing.
That's exactly. And I guess that was sort of my ultimate point, because like the things we have just discussed, like I support them, but I don't know that me hopping from cause to cause shows real support. For me, I would like to be able to make a real difference. And again, but to your point, it has to be consistent with my values, because otherwise it's going to become inauthentic, and it's going to be, again, it's a flavor of the month.
It becomes like, oh, I saw everybody else posted for National Arbor Day. I guess we should post something, right?
Well, again, we see this every day, not only with companies, but with individuals, right?
Yeah.
It's gotten to a point where Amy and I it's funny, like on Father's Day, she didn't post Happy Father's Day to me.
Yeah.
Right. And it was like, she was like, I'm tired of it. Like everybody, it's like everybody has the best dad on earth. No, you don't. You bitch about him 364 days a year until you go on Facebook to like show how wonderful your life is. Like when we do that over and over again, whether it's an individual or a brand, it's exhausting.
Well, and I agree. Sandy and I have had that conversation too about Mother's Day and anniversaries and stuff like that. And there's something to be said about the surprise and delight of that is much more than I wonder what they're going to write this year. But I think any attention to a cause is probably good. And I don't want to sit here and question the motivations of anybody. But it seems like it's so reactionary. It's expected. It's an obligation. It feels like an obligation with a lot of people.
Yep. Okay, cool.
All right, Kirby, I've got one or two directions to go. So I'm going to go with option B, VF Corp. I know you're familiar with them. Big fan of VF Corp. You have no idea who they are. They're the parent company of North Face, Vans, Timberland, JanSport, and Dickies. So now you know who they are. They bought Supreme, and that's a brand I guarantee you have no idea who they are.
I do not.
So Supreme for $2.1 billion. So
wow,
that it's amazing how, and I'm not criticizing you, but I didn't know until my kids were into Supreme. So it's amazing how out of touch we can be being in the marketing and branding world of something like Supreme. So they're a huge streetwear and skateboard line. Skate brand, and my kids got into them because they were very smart. They just created merch. They created a bunch of merchandise and also just say Supreme on it. They have some cool designs. Almost everything was limited edition, and so we're dropping these things in a microsite at 10:12 a.m. on a random Thursday, and my kids would get on their phones. I didn't care if school or not, and they're spending upwards of $75 for a T-shirt. I mean, they did a really great job of creating want, creating need, creating desire because of the law of
scarcity.
Limited choice. Yeah, scarcity. Thank you for knowing that. But seriously, thank you. So, but they have that limited edition merchandise, and they just printed money, and I think it has huge implications for our industry because it looks like they're going to enter because it's one of these sub brands that's very cool with kids, and now we might have the opportunity to have them in our industry. So, what I wanted to ask you, nothing about that, is kind of backup of my actual question. What brand or brands would you really like to see enter our world that just haven't yet? And I've got a couple because I had to really think about this because it seems like everybody's in our industry, but then when you really start, well, here, I'll come up with a couple.
Yeah, go ahead. Cause nothing's popping in my head.
No, that's okay. Untuck It. I wear Untuckit button-down
Yeah.
shirts. Now, Blue Generation has a great version of Untuckit, and I have not worn it, but I know Michael Riesbaum, he's a great guy, and I know that they're really good quality. They're not Untuckit. I know that there's great golf shirts that aren't Nike, but it's not Nike, and some people want that brand. I would love to see Untuckit do that because their branding is extraordinarily subtle. All they do, you know, they're long sleeve shirts designed to be short sleeve, designed to be worn untucked, hence the name Untuckit. And they just have a little triangular flag at the bottom of the shirt. So you can barely, it's very subtle branding. So you have all this area you could put branding on. And the other one I thought of, which would be interesting, and I'm surprised we've never seen them, and it's not for their pantalones, Kirby. I'd love to see Levi's enter our space for like jean jackets and things like that and other denim wear. I don't know. So those are the two I came up with, and maybe that's it. Maybe those are the last two companies not in promo.
Well, I think that's one of the struggles I make is I think one of the big trends that we have seen over the last several years is not only that brands have been more embraced by promo, but brands have embraced promo. And then customers have been asking for it. So I think it's been kind of a perfect storm so that I'll be honest, I struggle to answer this question, but I will say the moment you said Untuckit, I'm like, no, that is the brand that gets requested the most by my customers.
I bet.
So that one makes a ton of sense. And I think, but like, and in the interest of transparency, and I don't think we've ever talked about this. Nothing bad. I grew up as not a brand guy.
That's true.
So like we grew up in, and my parents did fine financially. We were middle class, I would say. But it was funny growing up. And I think part of this is we grew up my dad was a salesman in the promo industry. And so he knew how the sausage was made on a lot of the golf shirts and stuff like that. So it was funny. We were almost anti-brand with me growing up. It took me a while to even buy in. I'm selling Nike golf shirts. And I was like, really? They're that much more expensive? Now I've come around on a lot of that stuff, but I think that I'm skeptical as a human about the price that brands command. Sometimes I have to almost overcome that to get behind some of that stuff. So I'm probably not the best person to just name brands because being
in our industry also, Jade, like you're talking about, you know, I was telling my kids, like, you understand that shirt conservatively is like $1.50, right? It's like $2. Yeah, but they don't care because they wanted the brand, and it is amazing. So you are paying for a name and all that. One I failed to mention was Apple. People would love Apple to enter our space with earbuds and things like that. Actual Apple products. So no, and I think it's different because you did grow up in a smaller town. Now I grew up in a metropolitan area in Dallas, and brands were very big. And my parents were frugal, middle class, but frugal with 2 kids in college and all these other things. And so it was a big deal for me to not go to Kinney shoes and to get Nikes. It was a big deal for me not to get Tough Skin jeans at Sears and get Levi's. It was a big deal, you know, so on and so forth. And so, you know, I was very brand conscious. And so once I like when at Christmas time, I get an actual polo shirt with the little guy with the horse, man, I'd wear that thing out because it was important to me. As I've gotten older, I couldn't care less. For the most part, I want just quality, and quality does not mean it's got a certain label on it. And I've learned that well over time. But as a youth, and I see it in my kids. I don't know if you see this with Jade and Skylar, but there are brands that are very important to them, and you're just like shaking your head. I'm like, I don't get it. And am I out of touch, or do I know more than you? And it sometimes skirts that line.
I was gonna say both.
Yeah,
fair enough.
All right, do we have time for one more?
Yeah, I'll go a quick one.
Okay. I've got a quick one too. Let's do 2 quick ones. Let's go rapid fire quick. Let's do rapid fire quick topics. Kirby, go.
All right, ready? We talk about this big election that I think happened, right?
Yeah.
So, and this will be quick, truly.
Yep.
So now that the election is over, how does it change you and your business as you go to market with Brandivate?
Not at all.
That's what I thought. Next topic.
Yeah, next topic. Speaking of the election, I don't know if you saw this, and this is not a political statement of mine or Kirby's or anybody on this show or anybody who listens, but I did think it was very funny that after Biden was declared by the major news outlets as the president-elect, and obviously there's some lawsuits, and so that's still a little bit up in the air, but he was named that by a lot of the news outlets and things like that. He put on a hat to kind of mock his opponent, which I thought was a little funny. And I just wanted to mention it because I think the Biden campaign killed it with promo merchandise this year.
Yep.
So Donald Trump is known for wearing a Make America Great Again hat.
Yep.
Joe Biden put on say Make America Great on the front and number 45 on the side because he's the 45th president.
Yep.
Joe Biden put on a cap that said "We just did" and 46 on the side, which I thought was absolutely genius. Not saying I voted for Biden or didn't vote for Biden or whatever, but I just think that's very funny.
Yeah, it's if you buy that, you get a fly swatter.
Exactly, you get your own free fly swatter. All right, Kirby, it's game time. Party in the back, party in the back, party in the back. All right, so this is going to be interesting. So when you type in a Google search, you start typing in your whatever you're looking for using your fingers or your voice if you're doing speech to text. It will start giving you suggestions based on what everybody else in the world is searching.
Or where people in your region are searching.
Yeah, correct. But other people, not necessarily you. So we're gonna play a game called the Google search. And all I did was, you're not gonna do well. This is not to make you look, but it's just funny. So all I did was I typed in "when was." And now I'll just pick topics or questions that Google suggested they thought I was looking for. Are you ready, Kirby?
Sure.
When was the last time a pandemic happened? This is an easy one. You should get this one.
When was the last time a pandemic happened?
Yes.
The early 1900s, right?
Yes, 1918, the Spanish flu, H1N1
Spanish flu
virus.
was what I was going to suggest, but I was in my head, I'm like,
no. You did great.
Okay.
You did great. When was, again, just one. The last time a president, this is not political, this is what Google gave me, guys. When was the last time a president served only one term?
The Bush father, right?
Yes, George Herbert Walker Bush, 1989 to 1993. It's a great 2 for 2. I'm impressed. This was a weird one. When was the first iPhone released? I was like, who's Googling that? But
when was the first iPhone released? It's more recent than you think.
It is.
2008.
Very good. 2007. You're damn close. We're gonna give you half a point on that one.
Because it's mind blowing how much life has changed based on that product in 13 years. That's crazy.
June 29th, 2007. This one absolutely kind of sent me into hypnosis. When was the last ice age?
Wait. Ray Romano was in that.
No, not the movie. Not the movie.
Hey, well, you didn't. That was probably 2010.
2.6 million years ago, Kirby. Very disappointing. When was now it starts skewing a little more kind of current political environment. When was the last time the Supreme Court was expanded? Isn't this interesting? What people are searching for?
That is interesting. I honestly have no idea. Let's call it the 60s.
Yeah, it is interesting. Almost as interesting as my weird high voice the last time I just said something. 1807 from 6 to 7.
Okay.
1807 from 6 to 7.
That was a good change.
Yeah. When was the White? Yeah. Well, you need an odd number. When was the White House built?
Now that I probably should have some sense of. I'm going to go.
I did not. In all transparency, I did not.
Okay. I'm going to go 1860.
October 13th, 1792.
So way earlier. Okay.
Okay. This one, again, funny. This may be giggle. When was the last time the president got a raise?
I'm going to go Reagan, 80.
Okay. 2001. Actually, it was signed into law, I think, 1998. Clinton signed it into law, but George W. Bush Jr. Was the first to benefit from it in 2001. It went up from 200,000, where it was put at 1969 to 400,000.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All right.
Yeah, we are not paying that position nearly enough. There's no question.
You couldn't pay me to do that job.
Yeah.
All right. 3 more, Kirby. When was the Electoral College created?
Yeah, I should know this just because I'm sure it was a conversation here very recently, but I don't know the answer. I'm going to go 1930.
1804, the 12th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. Okay, the last two are
not
really
doing that well.
No, not great, buddy. So the last two are just this one is the strangest one because again, I just went down the list. I did not goose this at all. When was the first theater built in America, and where is it?
So it's still standing.
Or where was it? I'm sorry. Where was it? And I don't know if it's still
standing. It's got Massachusetts.
Okay. I think that's a good guess. You're wrong. But and when was it built? That's okay.
When did the Pilgrims come?
For 16
something. Yeah, okay. Let's go with that.
It was called the Dock Street Theater in Charleston, South Carolina, which I thought was very interesting. 1736. And then this one, I do not like this question. I do not approve of this question, but I will ask it because
that's what Google said. Yeah.
When was the last time the Dallas Cowboys won a Super Bowl?
See, they are basing it on your search history.
They are not. I don't search for the Dallas Cowboys. I know all of Dallas Cowboys history, sir. I don't have to search for it.
I'm going to go 90s. Let's say 95.
1996. Very well done, Kirby. You have used your knowledge to educate all of us about what was. I thought that was a fun little game.
Yeah, that was really good. Really good.
You know,
for what it's worth, before you get into our amazing Promo Pulse people, the social dilemma, which I've talked about on here.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the things they talk about in that particular program, where they say that Google actually, it affects your region.
Yeah.
When you search global warming is, depending on where you are in the country and what your search history is, they will fill that out in a different way. And that is a little freaky. So
it's a little unsettling. And I still have not watched that, by the way.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I just want to say thanks again to our good pals over at Promo Pulse. I can't think of a smooth transition, so we're just going to do a hard left turn and thank our good pals over there at Promo Pulse, Jason Noakes, the author of our podcast theme, also the owner, operator, and the programmer over there at Promo Pulse. His creation, his idea, and really super creative. It's convenient. Got that great search, save, and share content from the entire industry. It's that ideas, inspiration, and information, and they just did an update, so the content is loading so much faster, both on the app and the website. The search has been completely overhauled and does a much better job finding ideas based on the keywords you're putting in. He's not going to Google you. He's going to do it the right way. And it's really the only place you can search across the entire promo industry, sales and marketing content. So if you haven't downloaded Promo Pulse, head over to your local app store. If you have downloaded it, make sure you go ahead and update it so you can enjoy those enhanced features. And we thank them for their fine sponsorship of this blanket level podcast. Kirby, I want to thank you for having the courage on this fall day to broadcast with me.
It was super fun, man.
It was super fun.
That's right.